Alright boys and girls, and welcome back to another building video. If you're watching this at the time of recording, force wipe is very close. We're a little bit late because I wanted to make sure the space was a banger. We're not trying to rush these things out, alright? You cannot rush art. Today I'm bringing you guys a small team around trio to quad mini circle base design. This bad boy comes equipped with a core bunker, cute little open core for the gang to play out of, a nice and effective compound jam-packed with amazing turret angles, a really strong seawall, a lot of great online raid defense capabilities are set up with this base. Not to mention, this is a tanky offline as well with a good ability to spread loot in convenient locations for you guys to enjoy actually playing out of. This is a two-sided circle, which means for those of you who don't love learning base designs, you only need to remember half the base. You'll be able to build the rest. This bad boy's got a nice cost and upkeep as well, so if you're not into farming so hard, this base is definitely achievable. In other news, we absolutely smashed 80,000 subscribers. That is a lot of subscribers. For those of you who are in the Discord, you might have seen a little thank you message, but I really truly am very grateful for hitting this milestone. To everyone that interacts with the vids, to my Patreon goats, to everyone who's copped a custom, I honestly appreciate it so much. And now I think you guys are ready for the tour. We are still wrapping the Minecraft theme. It's nice to edit to some music that I've actually heard before. Fingers crossed we don't get hit with a back-to-back strike. All right, let's get in now with today's tour. Come on, we're still doing the Minecraft theme. We've not been copyright yet. Let's go. Starting off, we have a two-sided circle, two gatehouses, and two bedrooms. Two externals over here. The standard disconnect. We're all a very nice base. Very proud of this one. We're a little late to upload because I wanted to make sure this one was perfect. I get it out before force for the gang to enjoy. So we airlock into our standard little disconnect here. TC is in there behind the glass, and the disconnect is above. You throw down your twig from the outside. Keep that in mind. Twig goes in, connects the TC. You break the twig when you don't want this TC to connect overlapping the main base. So when you want to replace main, just move it somewhere else. Same thing on the opposite end. And then we got two gatehouses to take us inside. So here we are on the front of the house. You know the drill, boys. Before we go in, let me tell you what we got going on. Consider checking out the Patreon for $5. You can gain access to 20 private bases, all varying in group sizes, and I will update this every single month. And big thanks to everyone that's on there already. If you're not already sold, you'll also gain access to any future versions of the Spink Box that I use in my PvP videos. And there's a brand new tier on the Patreon where you can gain access to priority responses, and you can even load into my own private server where I can load in bases to these cool and unique island spawns to record my cinematics and tours. The server is also filled with a bunch of useful plugins, and the slots on this will be very limited. You can also load in sanctuary codes completely lag-free and check them out on this server too, surrounded by some very nice generated plots. Join the Discord down below to gain access to all of my PvP and building settings, plus a bunch of useful binds. And if you'd like to go the extra mile, you can purchase yourself a fully custom build down to your exact specifications. A true prize for you and your team to utilize in wipes for your eyes only. Thanks for listening to that one team. Appreciate all of you who have gotten involved in any of those projects of mine. They genuinely helped me out massively, so appreciate you, gang. Hopping in the gatehouse now though, we have the maximum visibility here. Look at that. Wow. Door camp me, I dare you, bro. It's not gonna work out. It's not gonna work out. We check out the compound now. No retakes entering in from the gatehouse. We keep it pretty simple on the way in from here. The turrets are watching us though really efficiently, which is nice. Looking good. We got one more above us here too, watching behind the seawall in the chain link here. So to give you a rough idea, if they are hitting the high walls, which we do expect they will, keeps them away from hitting the bedrooms. That's why we go for the wooden walls, by the way. I see that as a comment a lot. If we go for wooden walls, there's no chance of these getting splashed and taking too much damage. They're just going to bang this out, and then that forces them on a path that we expect to see people on, and then we set up turrets and angles to help us deal with it. So there we go. We got one turret there behind the chain link, and then one turret that we actually wall in. So it's two different levels of having to deal with this. They can't really take this one out from a distance. And then the seawall is set up with some deployables to make your life a little bit easier. Hopefully you guys appreciate those. We got the bedrooms as well. Two of these, and these are airlocked. Double single door airlock there. Comes with a retake as well. Wide down through compound. Very nice. straight through to where we want to see. Love that. 2 beds in here, a couple of boxes, maybe a wardrobe. You can do a locker here and then place these more forward so they're outside the door. You guys know how to make a bedroom though. 2 entrances into the base. One of these entrances is a chute that will meet on the 3rd floor, and one of them is actually a main entrance that will take us actually into the base. So it's important that you either mark those or at least know kind of on the compass which one is which. Looks like we've gone into the chute. So this is the chute side one, taking us up to 3rd floor. You can throw a bed in here, a little bit of a loot room with a nice patrico when the wall blows. So this is our main entrance, very turret covered. Love that. And mark this for the boys on your team who are not the brightest. I've got a few of them. I play with a few non-bright players, so don't worry, I know the struggles. If we jump up here now, that's actually going to take us into our starter. And we can also wrap up to the floor that I teased a little bit before. More drop space loot rooms here. This is just a one wall situation, so keep that in mind. Then we can go ahead inside our starter. So heading into the starter base here, we get a nice little loot room, and then we tuck our battery on the back over here, and that's going to be a 2-wall battery there. Very nice. You just chuck it in there. Once you're done all your electricity, you won't really need to access it, and you can throw the boxes back and pretty much forget about that battery there. Opening up the G doors now, that takes us through, opening our stair bunker. Another box above, which is nice as well, and a little look at some retakes for the floors above. So that's our stair bunker here. It's nice and covered. Nobody can even peek through and have a look what's going on. For those of you that aren't familiar with the stair bunker tech, it's unfortunately not available on console Rust, but you don't need the bunker just to build this base. I promise it's still worthwhile even without it. Down inside our core, we have our stair sitting on a nice bit of twig, and if we do break that twig, you'll see that the stairs disappear. There we go. Beautiful. Bunker opens up, and now that our bunker's open, we can drop straight down. The reason we utilize a ramp here, it stops us using a deployable jump up that can be easily broken, making it annoying to get at the base. And if you have a shotgun trap here, it's pretty much undrainable. If you're dropping onto a ramp, there's no way to get back up again, basically, and the body will slide down. So for those of you who do throw the shotgun traps around, utilize this in your drop down instead. Opening this up gives us one of our main kind of mega loot rooms in our starter base, and then we can wrap through to another single double door airlock coming through just like so. And finally, we set up the main TC. Now, I'm not going to try and tell you that this is maximum space efficiency. We're just sticking to the theme right here. If you haven't guessed what the theme is yet, comment down below if you can guess. It's obscure. It's subtle. Some of you are going to get it, some of you might not. But this is how we're rocking. Make sure to lock the main TC. It just didn't load. Important to do that. But this is how we set it up. Starter base kind of looks like this, and then you can expand through. So you should have enough space for 3 to 4 people to get the base going just from this level. As for the stair bunker tech, you can throw a twig back in here. And if you just place the stair from here, then it makes your life easier. You don't need to guess which way the stair's facing. This will make your life easy. And that's the bunker fully sealed up, and you guys are safe to rock down here. Nice and strong household. Full starter base up in the core. Continuing back through the build though, this time we're going to take the jump up. And from here we can see a nice little one-way into our open core. Now there are some beds here that players would be standing on, but you'd expect if there are players in here, then they would break the beds. That is rating 101. We don't leave the beds lying around. Jumping up, we get a repeat of the loot room here, and again, if this stone wall ever goes missing, then it's a patrico outside towards the breach, which is usually pretty cool. We can open up now and take a look at the OC. We've got beds for the whole gang sitting through like this. A couple of mega loot rooms, and if you set these up with the new barrels and boxes, you can fit some extra ones in here too, without ruining the mobility of the loot room, which I think is pretty cool. Code Spinky at checkout for those. Wish that was a thing. You can also see that this is where our mobility chute meets up from the prior floor that I showcased in the beginning. So we get the 2 retakes from here. Everything sits up pretty nice. You can throw some extra DLC deployables around here to fit some more. Or if you don't want the beds, you can rock something else in the middle to give you some more box space. And the workbenches are nice and close by too, which is great. Now we can go ahead and jump up. We get another little loot room here. This one's just a one-waller, so it's more of a drop storage. Extra backup loot. Obviously keep the good stuff in the center here. You can even throw some turrets down the middle just to keep this area a little safer as well, which is nice. But this is a good little way to split off some loot, and ideally it may not get found in an offline raid either, as it's part of the chute. We can open this up now as well. Going to take us to a bit of a bed floor where we connect up to our shooting floor too. Very nice. You can see the base is back to being split again, which makes it easier in an online raid scenario and offline, giving raiders a lot less control of the base depending on what path they take. So I like the way that works. Little double door, single door airlock here for the bedroom too, while we push out towards shooting floor. Opening this up, we get that repeat loot room again with the patrico if the wall is breached. Then we get a retake looking down towards our shooting floor drop down. And also if the doors are open here, then you'll see anyone on the jump up too, which is pretty nice if that gets blown. Box here for the bed respawns, and that's how that sits. And this is a pretty tanky bedroom as well. It's not so bad. You can store some good retake kits in here. Again, we're rocking this, so feel free to put a shotgun trap. Makes this completely unbaitable, and the body will slide down, so very nice. Little retake here, and you can look into shooting floor from this one. You might think that raiders are going to be able to spray at you from here, but you're actually pretty much decently safe on this one. It's quite tight. They can back up a little bit and find an angle on you, but overall it's not so bad. And then popping this garage door off, we get a one-way through towards the long end of shooting floor, giving us some retake potential and at least checking to know if there's anyone in there before we do key out. That's our jump up to roof, but we can exit out to shooting floor now, and I'll give you guys some ideas on how that looks. Either a ramp here or a deployable will make this Patrico a lot better, of course. It's supposed to be set up like this. That gives you a better idea. So you can do a crouch peek on this, look a little further away. We can't fully cover the head on this one, so don't full rely on it. Or we can look a little further down with that. Then we can rep the wide gap, and I've kind of covered it at the bottom here. Makes it a lot harder for people to spray us from far away while we focus whoever the real threat is down on the ground, which is pretty nice. So we can rock that wide gap for honestly a lot of downward potential all the way around and through. And this is where we expect to see some raiders running around, which is pretty clean. Over here we get a couple of brutalist angles, and these are mainly for the distance. Cool thing about this is if you'd rather, obviously this varies depending on build spot, you can take that embrasure off, upgrade the roof to something other than brutalist, flip it around the other way, and now you've just swapped that angle to a downward angle. It's also fob protected. So you can choose between those depending on how your build spot is looking. You may find that you'll get more use out of the brutalist, or you may find you like the downward a little bit more. It's completely up to you guys. Either or works. Get some more downwards here as well, and these are fob protected too. Very nice. Looks down towards through compound, and we can back up on this too to give us a little view on the surrounding area. These angles just repeat all the way through, giving us Patrico after Patrico, brutalist into wide gap. Very, very nice. Last thing to do now is to check out the roof. So of course the base is still split. So there's another bedroom down here that I didn't mention. Keep that in mind. On each shoot, we get the beds coming through. The retakes again, splitting the base in half makes it very hard to lose full control too quickly. We can then jump up, we get the same retake again, and they can't use it so much against us with that ramp there, giving us an idea if anyone is on our roof. Popping off the garage door is going to give us a one-way further through into roof 2, which is super nice. And then we can hop up and exit out. 2 turrets are going to cover us pretty well up here. Obviously they're watching pretty efficiently for just 2 turrets, and these are not going to be too easy to take out either. Anyone in an attack heli or in a minicopter are going to struggle doing anything against them. Some of the angles up on roof now. We got a little unique section here, kind of just filling in the gaps. Nothing crazy here. You could crouch on this one and maybe get a kill or 2. And then over on this side, we've got our slightly more defender-sided angles. You'd be looking to get quite a few kills off these before anyone even hits you, which is pretty nice. Get the Patrico stacking up, looking left and right, giving us some good coverage all the way around the base. You can either sit on a box to look further away, hop up in a barrel to get a little bit more downward on there, which is nice. Turrets watching us the whole time too, and the ramps are keeping us safe from the standard raid bases. And then these are more just a little viewing section. If you do want to leap off of the roof and get down nice and fast, that's an option too. And that pretty much wraps up the base build. So hopefully you boys and girls are impressed with this one and you'd like to learn how to build it. Before we get onto that, I'm going to go ahead and show you the build cost and upkeep. First of all, on screen is the total build cost, and second up is that build cost in box amounts to make things a little easier to visualize. And lastly is the total upkeep that's spread between 3 TCs, and of course the main TC is holding the majority of that upkeep. Now I'll go ahead and break down how to build this base. Alright, let's go ahead now and get on with the tutorial. We'll start by claiming our build spot, and all we need for that is a square with a TC in the back left corner. You can pull a shelf through if you'd like, but I prefer to spam barrels on the ground. Next thing we can do is expand this all the way out into a circle with squares facing each other like so in a 2-side symmetrical form. This entire area can be wrapped in walls all the way around to keep us safe. Right next to our TC is going to be our section for the twig. So we double half hole there, so we always have a free socket, and then we can throw a window in there and keep this twig at all times. Feel free to use the shelf underneath, not the one above. In line with the double half holes, we throw down a single door like so into a double, giving us a early airlock, placing your doors in this orientation. Lovely. And you can spam the door frames around the rest. Over here, we can rock ourselves a little ramp. And again, that makes shotgun traps hard to dodge. And it prevents people from breaking our jump up if it's just a deployable. Over here, we can do a big loot room, and you can either ramp that for more protection protection, or you can leave it out for more space, up to you. But that's our starter. There we go. We do a direct 180 now to jump up into this motion here. From there we can wall off this backside because from there we can wall off this backside here and wrap it through with an extra door. Then before we continue, we're going to go ahead and throw down a retake here. Prep that for later on. And if you're worried about people using this against you for now, you can just float this off the side. And from there, we also have another retake on the opposite end there coming through. And this is also where we keep our battery. And again, if you're worried about that being used against you, you can throw that down. Next to our battery section here, we can throw down a half shelf in front, walling everything off. And finally, we enter out into the gap here, just like so. Throw down your final doors and get your battery in here as well if you want. There we go. And you can get some more barrels in front and up top. There we go. Cool. Base is looking pretty weird, so we're going to throw down the whole footprint now so that everything makes a bit more sense. So we'll shut this door and then get our squares in the center here like that, with the triangles covering those gaps. And we can do that over here as well. There we go. This entire bottom floor here is just going to be pure honeycombing, and that's on both sides. You can add your door frame here, and then everything else is walls. Just coming all the way through with walls. And again, directly opposite, door frame here. And then walls all the way through. And it's good to get this honeycombing down early. Makes our starter feel pretty strong. We can floor all of this in, apart from where our door is. There we go. And then on the doorway, you can have this cutting into the empty square. Gives us a nice little jump up, and it's not a deployable jump up. That will be broken too easily. From there, we can do our entrance. So we wrap in like so, giving us the one-way retake. And you can wall that off. And you can just seal that in for now, if you like. And then nobody can enter from top. And we can wrap this one through into a little additional drop storage loot room. That turns into a Patrico peak when the wall is breached. So there we go. Very nice bit of tech there. Just like that. And I can go ahead and add that on the opposite side too. Here we are. So half wall window so that we get a one-way. Seal it off for now so nobody comes in from the top. Little loot room here. There we go. And this one doesn't cut into starter, remember, it just jumps up and over and meets on third floor. Now we've got this square down the center here. We're going to throw a half wall inside of this one and then seal it in completely, leaving it open at the top for a mega loot room inside OPENCORE. Then from here, you can just throw this in with pure honeycombing like that. And the triangle does not have a purpose. So we do that again, half floor for the mega loot room, leave it open at the top. The two mega loot rooms are facing each other like so. Just throwing a half wall in here for a little bit of additional combing. There we go. And everything else gets sealed in just like that. So that's looking pretty good. If you want to make sure you can jump up to this level and actually use a bit of roof, and you can set this up. The windows stack on each other like this. And then we'll seal it there and take out this door so we can actually exit up to our roof. We'll do that over here as well. There we go. And now we can actually hop up to this level, which is pretty nice. It makes sense to me to actually finish off this floor, giving us a little bit of retake potential and such, and some mega loot rooms. And then we'll go for compound from there, because overall it's not too pricey of a base right now. Lost a staircase here, or didn't place. There we go. So we can start by walling this whole floor in, all the way around. Just like so. For the mega loot room, you can throw that down. If you're going to do the normal one, you can throw a ramp in here, or if you want to do the barrel thing that I did, then you just leave this floor open and you place your kind of barrels coming through like this. So I had mine set up like this, or you can do the standard method where you just use pure boxes, depending on if you have DLCs and such. There we go. And then you can pull a triangle through, just like that. Take it away now. And we'll do that on this side too. And obviously the combing isn't down for these loot rooms yet. But you could still use this room if you wanted to. Get the loot room again. On every level. There we go. Over on this section here, we just kind of wall this in. And we make a little bit of a loot room setup in here too, which is nice. So You can throw a ramp facing up the way here. There we go. And just seal that in for now. And boxes go in there later on. Go that again over this side. Seal this one in. Ramp facing up towards the window. And seal it all in at the top there. And you can seal this in too. In the turret shade, I left this open. Feel free to spam garage doors in here as well. If you're going to have a lot of gears, then why not? Just leave it a little bit more open, or you can go for the strength option. When the embrasures do arrive, this is how we want to set these up, and that's going to give us a wonderful one-way from door to door, which is very, very effective. And there we go. You can see these angles without the embrasure is not so effective. You set it up like that, and I'll go ahead and take this chute up to the top now, so that we can exit out to this floor. There we go, just like that. And we can pop these doors off now, and that helps you before you have the G doors ready to go. Look, you want to flip these around for later on. Hopefully nobody soft sides that. Just make it metal. Shouldn't be a problem though. You should be fine. But yeah, we'll leave the base at this stage now. This is going to give you guys some storage to play around with, some retake ability, some height to roof camp with, and some decent mobility as well on either side of the base. We're going to go ahead and rush our compound now and try and get some externals down too. All right, let's start off now with our external. So the external side is going to be on the door side. I'm going to throw on two-sided symmetry just so the tutorial doesn't get too long, but there should be an icon in the top left to let you know when symmetry is on. Basically means when I do this to one side, it'll appear on the other. So we're going to come and face our door now, and we're going to come out with a 2 square wide gap. That's 1, 2, cap it with a triangle, and return back with triangles to create a hexagon here with a gap up against the base. Break that triangle off for now and add a square. There we go. And all of this can be upgraded. Nice, we're on the wrong grade. You love to see it. This is going to be our bedroom module, so not our gatehouse. The bare minimum that we need to do though to get our compound down is to wrap this in walls, floor on top, and a half wall on the top there. And from there we can do full walls and half walls on the sides, just like that. And that's all we need to get our compound going. I'm going to build out now towards the external. So we come out with a square, into another square, into another square, and our TC is going to go down right here. There we go. Now don't leave all of this upgraded. We're going to do some fancy tech here so that we have a nice disconnect, popping that one there, swapping that one out, and adding a roof facing up this way. Very important with the disconnect to half wall, then full wall. That ensures that this roof is connecting half height. So technically this roof is not touching this wall. You'll see the upkeep is 70 metal frags, which is not what we have going on here. If I'm to add a triangle like we do, the upkeep increases and we start to take over everything connecting from this roof and leading onwards. Essential that we place this triangle from this side, I mentioned in the tour, very important. And the rest of the TC can just be walled in, window on the TC, single doors leading in, or garage doors, depending what you want. You could throw that down too. A little bit stronger that way, and then we can half wall over the top to keep this twig part safe, and that's the external done. That's all we need to do. TC on either side of those, and I showed how to disconnect already. Ready for compound on these sides. Some work to do over here now. Two-side symmetry is still on, keep that in mind. Now over on the opposite side of the base, the other two halves here with two-side symmetry still on, we're going to come out with a full hexagon into a square, and we can break this, creating this little section here, leaving the triangle spaces like that. We're going to want to connect this all together, so you can throw the first floor of combing down and a couple of frames there to join this footprint up. The bare minimum that we need though to get some high walls down is to add in a frame here, window there, and half wall into chain link here with a ceiling on all of that turret spot there. Cool. But before we do the high walls, we need to finish off the footprint. So we come out with a square, triangle, triangle, just like this. Now these walls should be red. We only want to use this socket, so don't worry about that. Then from there, you go triangle, square, square. You can see that finally joins us all up, looking good. And that's all we need. These foundations are not connected though, so we need to do a bit of building to get them all linked up. So we do double window on this section. And again, all of this can be red. That's part of the build. Don't worry. Don't freak out if you see that. And over here, we can just set up a bit of chain link, and that should join everything together. And we'll do it over here now as well. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Windows on there, chain link on here, and that joins everything up now. We are now ready for some high walls, and the footprint is looking pretty cool, if I say myself. All right, for the high walls, we're trying to do a 3 high wall seal on every gap, and we have 4 gaps. If you're a mathematician, that is 12 high walls total. So let's give that a go. You're going to want to come out pretty much straight with this half wall up here, off to the right. So we come straight out like that, and same over here. Pretty much straight, nice and easy. And we're going to do the exact same thing again. Pretty much straight. Anyone could do this, bro. Easiest compound going. We love it. No mistakes. And then you just seal off the last one there. Boom. Push that in as far as you can. Hold shift. It might help. And just seal off the last one again. Easy 12 high wall compound. Nice. Next, I want to make sure you guys can throw your turrets down if you do have them ready to go. So we're going to throw a window here with a single door here. And we can throw a turret above that. 1 turret down. Well, 2 technically because we have symmetry on. And the other one goes here. And if you throw your chain link there too. Boom, 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 boom. And then this turret just has the walls to protect it. And it's very nice. We'll finish off the bedroom too, just in case you want to get some beds going. And that sits just like this, giving us a little retake into compound. And you can prep the beds up there too. Forgot to say for the barricades. Probably don't even need me to tell you. Gonna get pretty complex. But we do that there, and we do that there. There we go. Don't hold on to blades. You don't need them. There we go. And you can finish off this gatehouse. That was just if you were on a budget. There we go. Everything is dusted off. And we're looking pretty good in the compound. Not really a lot of work left to do down here. Next, we're going to raise our honeycombing all the way up. This is actually our mega loot room here. So important honeycombing there to go up. And then there's no more combing in the base. We'll do a little bit of framework in a little bit. But we'll take the core up to the next level now. All right, now we're going to take the core up to the next level so we can start working on shooting floor, getting some frames up and all that good stuff. We're going to start by walling in this entire floor. I've still got the 2-sided symmetry on, so keep that in mind. I'm going to wrap it around. There we go. Where our honeycombing is, we're actually going to do half wall into window. And then you can seal it off for now like this. That'll be done for shooting floor. Then over here we go door to door, into a single double, window into window. And this is kind of our Patrico loot room here. We've done that a few times now. Patrico loot room there. Then we have our retake sitting here. This square here is going to be a loot room. You can seal that up, half wall it, and then do a floor there with a window. That's going to be another retake. There we go. Down the middle, we do walls. Doesn't matter the rotation here. It's not going to be a problem. You're going to have a soft side either way. In front of this window, we're going to turn that into a Patrico. Instead of half walling the top, we're going to window it off so that we can do a one-way. It's a lot of retakes here, and it's going to get a little bit confusing. Over here, you can either do the ramp, or you can just do a standard jump up. It's completely up to you, whatever you think is best. Pair this with a shotgun trap, and it is going to get you some loot. I can guarantee it. Then we can just seal up the ceilings on all of this, wrapping it through. Seal this one as well, and frame this one. For this retake, it's a little bit dangerous. It can be used against you, unless you add in a ramp here. For the sake of symmetry and to help with the shooting floor, we'll add a ramp right next to it. And that's how that should be looking right now. Now, again, this continues to get confusing, I'm afraid. We're going to do window on window, just like that. Wall the back of our jump up and turn it into a jump up again to the next floor. Add a frame in there and a door frame to lead out to shooting floor. In the middle here, we can add a spot for a barrel, frame this off so that we can use the one-way, and ceiling. If I add in the embrasures now, hopefully everything looks a little bit more easier to visualize. We're going to bring this to the roof level now. So we do a wall here to finish off the jump up. 2 doors to take us out to roof. There we go. This spare section again allows us to use the one-way like this, and then this is a retake there. And that's how that's setting up. Hopefully that wasn't too confusing and it all makes sense. Right, for the shooting floor, we can start on our kind of half-walled sections here. Still got 2-sided on. We frame in front, half walls on top, and seal it in. In front of our ramps, we do window, window, with a double door, facing out the way in between, and that should line up with your wide gaps. There we go. We got that on both sides. And then in between, we just do windows again. There we go. Get some frames here, frame the square, frame the triangle, and seal this all in. There we go. All the way up to roof height now. Looking good. We'll go ahead and finish off the shooting floor though, get some angles going for us. So we'll start on the non-multi-TC side, just from main base here. And we're going to stand on top of our gatehouse and do a little bit of work from here. Let's start by adding in a couple of triangle floors and raising it up with frames. You can then half wall both of these and give us a bit of fake honeycombing like that. Take these half walls up and over, frame them off this time, and fob protect our downward angle. And then this can come up one more time, giving us some Patricos on roof. And we'll just low wall these. There we go. Beautiful. Right next to this gatehouse, we're going to continue by adding in 2 extra frames on the left and right. And on top of that final frame, we will add in a brutalist ramp. Brutalist. There we go. You can see that should cut right in to the middle of the window. We can throw this down here, and you're going to want some sort of higher deployable on this section. I was rocking a sofa before, but you want something that's going to give you the height to use this brutalist. Next up, we can come through to the wide gap side, and we're just going to raise up from the center here. 1, 2, into half walls, back into frames, into half walls again. And that seals off our wide gap. These half walls just keep it a little bit safer so people far away can't take us off this angle when we're trying to focus what's below. And from there, we just full wall this off and seal it in. There we go. Wide gap done. Last thing to do is down here, we're going to pull out a frame and a half wall and a frame again. And then we can raise that up. Add in a brutalist roof to keep our head decently safe. A little bit of gap here, but still better than a normal window because you won't be able to get a frame on this side. We just go for a floor on this one and cover it ever so slightly. And now we are up on the roof height level. Right next to this kind of setup we have here, we're going to do normal windows and we just glass these off. No particular angle here, more of just a vision. These are obviously flipped like this, and you can throw the grills in here for the best angle and set it up how I did in the tour. Over here, we can set up some half walls with some ramps on top, keep us a little bit safer. And then in this section, I threw in some windows with the ramp coming from the main base side, not the wide gap. And that tightens up these windows a lot more. Next step is to throw some frames on top of this section here. And that's going to be our turret spot. With an extra frame here and a floor frame cutting through. Wrap all of this in half walls. And then you can tuck a turret in here and sealing it off. Windmill is going to go up at the top here. We get 2 of these. And then once you guys have done that, that completes the base design. Hopefully you boys and girls have enjoyed this video. If you did, then please feel free to leave me a like and drop me a comment down below. Remember to join the Discord if you need any help, want to cop a custom, or also check out the Patreon. Hope to see this base out there on some servers. I'll see you boys and girls in the next video in a bit.